Oh yeah. 5 days, 2 ingredients, 6% cider. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make cider, hard cider, from 2 ingredients in one simple step. You will be amazed how easy this is. Apple juice. I've just bought this from Asda's. Open the apple juice and then tip a little bit out. I have tipped out 200 milliliters from a 1 litre bottle. That means I have 800 milliliters of potential alcohol. Now, it's very important on the ingredients to have only apple juice as the ingredients. Do not buy anything which has potassium sulfate, sodium sulfite. Those are preservatives and they will stop the fermentation reaction happening. So, yeast. I'll put pictures up with the prices. Before I add the yeast, it's good practice, because there's now a gap in the bottle, to give it a shake. And what that's going to do, it's going to incorporate oxygen into the liquid. So now you can see that there's oxygen being incorporated in, which helps the yeast build a colony and get to work on the sugars. So now that's shook up, all we need to do is add the yeast. Now, just a teaspoon, less, not even a full teaspoon. Tip it in. Put the lid on and shake him up again. Guys, this is how easy this is. I've taken 200 ml out, which means I've got 800 ml left in the bottle. There is 11 grams of sugar per 100 ml. So 11 times 8 is 88 grams of sugar. Guys, that's 88 grams of sugar naturally in this apple juice, which is going to turn to alcohol. We're going to end up with about 6% cider. Right, now that's shook like this, what you need to do is release the cap. Okay, now this is an important step. Place the cap on, twist until you feel a little bit of pressure, and then release. Guys, it's important you release the cap. So what will happen when the yeast start eating the sugar, it's going to produce alcohol and CO2. The CO2 needs to escape. That's why we keep the cap loose. But we don't just take the cap off and leave it, because flies, bacteria, wild yeast, anything can get in there and spoil the beverage. So on and off. Guys, that's it. It's done. Now we just got to wait a few days. Did you think it was that easy? Well, it is. So now that's ready to go. I'm also going to make, if you're interested, one with equipment. This is without equipment. I'll make one with equipment. And then later on, when they're both fermented and finished, we're going to see if there's a difference. 24 hours later, and this is fermenting lovely. See these tiny bubbles popping? And you can hear, it's like when you open a new fizzy pop, that's the level of bubbles that are coming out right now. So he's well on his way. It's been 5 days. Fermentation has finished. Now it's important to know that fermentation bubbles, when they're rising, are tiny and numerous, really fast and small fizzing. Whereas if you look at this clip, what has happened is because of the fermentation, the gas is trapped in the liquid. So don't mistake these big bubbles coming up every now and then as it's still fermenting. That is just the liquid degassing itself. If you're wondering what this is, this, if you want to stick around, is how I made 4 litres of the same apple juice, but a bit more complex. If you'd like to see that, just carry on watching. But for now, this is finished. With fermentation, you can see that there is sediment in the bottom. That sediment is completely normal and it happens every time. So, what we need to do is just pour this very carefully, and the sediment, the technical term is lees. You want to leave that and take all of this. So, I've got a funnel. If you haven't got a funnel, it's fine to just carefully pour into the bottle. So I'm just going to pour this one in. So I've just left about an inch on the bottom, so you don't get any of that in your bottle. Guys, if you're using a bottle and you want to store it for a while, please make sure it's clean, okay? Like sterile clean. So how does this taste? If you're interested, my next step is I'm going to see how far this fermented so I can work out how much alcohol it is. But you don't need to do this. I'm just doing it to show you how much sugar has been fermented out of the natural apple juice. Right then. Cheers, everybody. Nice. There is nothing unpleasant about that. That reminds me of, have you had the cans of Scrumpy Jack? Just a flat version. Guys, beautiful. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Cider. In 5 days. This is 5 days of stubble. Cider in 5 days. It's dry. It's got like a tartness to it. It's like a green apple. Beautiful. Right. So, like I said, you don't need this. You don't need to do this. When fermentation is done, it's done. But because I've got the equipment, I'm just going to show you how much sugar has been turned to alcohol. So here we can clearly see that it's fermented out to dry, meaning there's not much sugar. There might be a tiny bit, but undetectable by the tongue. This is fermented out dry, meaning no more sugar is going to ferment. Guys, that's that. It's done. 5 days, 2 ingredients, 6% cider. So now to make cider, using a little bit more equipment and maybe a little bit more technology. So, first of all, we get the cider, the apple juice. Now, I'm going to take a pH reading because ideally we aim for about 3.5 to 5 to 4, we aim 3.5 to 4.5. Now let's see what this is saying. Okay. Now there's a scale on here and we just match up the colour, and it's not as light as 5, it's about as dark as 4, maybe in between. So I'm going to say that's 4.5. So perfect. So I've got 4 litres. I've got 4 bottles of these, which I'm going to put into this demijohn. And I'll get back to you once it's all in there. Now before I add this last bottle into my demijohn, I have a hydrometer inside a graduated cylinder, and I'm going to test the amount of sugar which is in the liquid. Even though we know there is 11 grams of sugar per 100 ml, we're going to see what that reads on the hydrometer. So that reads 1.042. We have yeast nutrient. Now, yeast, just like everything else, needs a good feeding. It will work, as my simple one will show you, without this. But let's add just under half a teaspoon for good measures. So we're just going to go straight in with some cider yeast. This is not just baker's yeast like I used for the simple one. This has an alcohol tolerance of 15%. Now why they call that a cider yeast, I don't know, because I never had a 15% cider, but I will one day. So I'm going to add a teaspoon. Maybe not quite a teaspoon. Not quite a teaspoon of yeast. One of these packets will do 23 litres. Guys, I've only got 4 litres in there. I've probably added too much, but that's okay. Right, so I'm going to give this no swirling at all, because that yeast is going to stick on the sides. It just looks ugly. The next piece of equipment I'm going to use for this is an airlock. Just got water in the U-bend. I'm going to pop that by there. Squeeze him in. And when this is done, and when that's done, we're going to try them both together and see if there's any point in using all of this junk. It's not junk, it's fun, it's exciting, I like using it. Sorry, I don't mean that. Ultimately, it's all about the taste. So this is literally just 24 hours later. Oh, this is just 24 hours later. And it's really kicking off. Again, this only took 5 days, which is pretty impressive, considering it's 4 litres. So think how much you could make. You could make a whole barrel load, possibly in 5 days. Everything that touches this liquid has been sanitized. Guys, it's very important. don't brew unless you've sanitized, okay? So now we have almost a full wine bottle of this cider. Now, ooh, let's take a gravity reading and see how much it fermented. Guys, it fermented exactly as much as the simple one. It's on 1.000. Interesting. Okay guys. Tricky? Complicated? Not really, but more advanced. And guys, so simple, this one, but let's check the taste against each other. So, first of all, the simple one. I know I've already tasted it, but cheers everybody. Really green appley, tarty taste. Not even, you can barely detect its alcohol. It's that nice. Now, the one which had yeast nutrient and a special yeast and different vessels. Cheers everybody. There's no difference. Okay, if I had to split hairs, I would say this one is a little bit more tart, little bit more sour. But if you give me a drink of this and then a drink of that one and told me it was the same drink, I'd believe you. There you go, guys. Guys, the proof is in the brew. I'd like to take this opportunity, guys, there's another brewer on YouTube, just starting out. His name is Randy Fish. I'll link him in my description. Please give him a try out, give him a check out, look at his stuff. If you enjoy it, support him, subscribe. If you don't subscribe just for the sake of subscribing, because that can actually hurt a YouTube channel. So, and I'm only doing this because I think he's brilliant. It's very calming and soothing, his method, other than my flipping way. Anyway, check him out. And if you want to have a look in my channel page, guys, I've fermented Haribo, I've fermented a Big Mac. I've got plenty videos coming up. Have a look. If there's anything you like, give it a watch, give it a thumbs up, and maybe consider subscribing. If you like this type of stuff, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all of you.